Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is Go Again, a fabulous video cast covering the trading card game Flesh and Blood. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. Hello everyone, and welcome to Go Again, a fabulous cast here on Dice Commando. So one of my favorite things in these type of games is tracking meta evolution, whether it be locally, whether it be regionally, globally, or whatever it may be, right? In many cases, like in this game, you have also potential for online versus paper, and it's very cool to watch how those different metas kind of intertwine, how they make each other evolve. And really, it's kind of cool when we have surprises like what I feel we saw kind of at the Blitz into 2021 event at Mighty Ape. The results from that were very interesting, and kind of was a great example of how metas change, evolve, and can sometimes surprise us. Hey guys, so thanks for joining me today. So before we get into this, there may be some out there that don't understand or have never heard the term. I'm sure you've heard the term meta, but maybe don't have a full understanding of it. So I just wanted to kind of baseline on that before we get into this. So what the meta is short for meta game. Now I do want to be clear, there is an abbreviation for it out there, which is most effective tactic available, right? META. That's actually not the origin of meta. Meta is actually short for meta game. Meta is a Greek word that means transcend, right? So what we're really saying is meta game. It's the game that transcends the game, and that's really what this means. Meta means is it's the game within the game, right? A great example of meta would be like rock paper. Of a meta game would be like rock paper scissors, right? We all know how the game rock paper scissors works, but like let's say one event one year, it was the world championship of rock paper scissors. You found that for some reason or whatever, 60% of the people were throwing rock. So after collecting that data, you may next year decide that, well, okay, since 60% of the people were throwing rock, I'm going to throw paper and I'm going to get them. But then you might think, oh, well, maybe now that everybody knows everybody's throwing rock, maybe everybody's throwing paper, so I should throw scissors, and so on and so on and so on. And that's kind of, so it's not the rules of the game, it's trying to kind of outplay everybody within the game. And how that applies to Flesh and Blood, for example, is certain decks are positioned to do well against other decks, and they have weaknesses that are preyed upon by other decks. So if you know that one deck is good, and a lot of people are going to be playing it, maybe you bring the other one. And that's why the evolution thereof of the meta game is even within the same set release, right? Within the same, and a lot of times we'll call it this is the Arcane Rising meta, meaning it's the release between Arcane Rising and Crucible of War, or something like that. There are certainly many evolutions of that meta in between set releases and stuff like that. So going into that, that's exactly I think right what we saw. And now to be clear, we do have different metas within different groups, right? There's, for example, a different play group at your LGS. If everybody's heavy on one certain deck, you might bring another deck to counter that, right? And then they might bring something to counter you, and it goes back and forth. So your own meta can evolve very separately from like a regional or globally. So when we see something like what happened this weekend at the Blitz 2021 tournament at Mighty Ape, I'll put the results up now. We saw, you look at the top 8, it was primarily Wizard, which is very interesting because I think, or at least from my perceptions, the global favor going into that probably would have been Ira, right? I mean, that's because the best, arguably the best player in the world was hot on Ira, had demonstrated very good results with that, and a lot of people were causing a lot of problems with it. I know Josh, he was very worried with his Bravo deck about how to face Ira. He didn't have a lot of answers for it. So that's been where a lot of the energy's been spent. And then if you so referencing Alan versus Ian Reflex, their cast, which I'm showing here, please go check them out. Thank you guys for this data. The breakdown of that tournament actually was heavily favored towards Ira. But when you look at the top 8, It's very, very different. And I love seeing stuff like this because I love surprises. And I love it when, people are out, maybe, even though the global excitement was, let's say the global excitement was on Ira, you had some guys who were like, all right, let's get down to this. Let's get real smart. Let's figure out how we're going to, crack this egg, so to speak. And they did, and the results are there and speak for themselves. And I love tracking stuff like this. And now with this data, if we were to have another one of these in a month, I would wonder if it would look the same. I'm guessing that it might not, because some people are going to go figure out how to counter it, and so on and so on and so on. And I don't know, I just love seeing stuff like this. Very exciting. And I mean that's pretty much it today. Just the excitement over seeing that. I'm very excited to see the deck list coming out of that. I'm hoping they'll be published. I expect they will be. And we can go through that in detail. But it's very cool to see stuff like this. And Flesh and Blood actually is a very fascinating example of metagaming right now, because of how many different ways there are to play, right? Because you have countries like New Zealand and some of the other countries on that side of the world, they get to play in person. And then we have the online metas, and we have the U.S. Texas meta, and we have the U.S. Florida meta, because they can play in person. But you have European meta; they're doing online stuff. I mean, everybody's doing online stuff, but you see various different things, and like you could take one deck, you could be the same player, a great player, show up one day with one deck, get trounced, and then go to another event and do very well, and then have that flipped, and someone else could have the same. And it's a very interesting phenomenon, just with the way that we have almost different columns of Flesh and Blood right now, forced because of the. I mean, of course, it's a global thing. People from different countries think differently, interact with people at different levels, and what you see is stuff like this develop. Is that something that's good in A might not be good in B, and the global priority can be on something, and you find out the results are different. So, love seeing stuff like this. It's very fantastic. It really puts things into perspective when we sit down. We're like, this is the best deck, and it's like, well, it is, until something beats that, and then that's the new best deck, and so on and so on. So love seeing stuff like this. Very exciting results from this weekend. Congrats to all of the winners. I mean, heck, like at that level, anybody, 54 players going in there, high level players, anybody who even does a top cut deserves a huge pat on the back, right? Obviously the winner's the winner, not taking anything away from that individual at all. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I think anybody who makes it into a top cut in an event like that, you're a good player, deserve a pat on the back. So good job, everyone. Leave comments below. Let me know what you guys are thinking. What's hot in your area, right? Do you think Wizard did well? So it's hard to argue with that for this tournament, but maybe something else will dominate your local meta. So let me know what you guys are thinking. Thanks for joining me, and go Commando.